It's time to turn your old phone into a gaming console. I'm going to turn this old phone into a portable game system. Today we're looking into some accessories, and that is the BSP D3. Sometimes you have an old phone that's not necessarily compatible with your network or maybe outdated, but it's still a good phone. Basically, it's a pocket computer. And what I've always wanted to do is take one of my old phones and turn it into a portable gaming beast. So today's video is not about developing all the software and the games on the phone. It's more about this piece right here. This is the BSP D3, and what this does, it's a controller that actually slides, and I'll demonstrate it. Here's the actual controller by itself. You put your phone in just like so, and now you've got a portable gaming console. One thing I really like about the controller is it has backlit LEDs, and if you don't like them, you can also turn them off. Also, I'm noticing that it incorporates both your Xbox and your PlayStation layout. So what they've done, which was really cool, is they put the symbol and the letter all in one button, and I really like that. This controller has dual analog sticks, also a light indicator here that lets you know what mode that you're in. It also has an internal battery, which is awesome, and it lasts a pretty good long time. Let's check out some of the specs right here. Alright, before we get into the gaming of the controller, I want to go over some of the features here. As you can see, if you're looking over at the phone over here, I can use this analog stick to select whatever game that I want. We'll just do a quick walk around. So here is where the indentation is for your phone, and in the specs, I'll make sure that you can tell what size phone you can put in there. So let's go ahead and get the phone in there now. And it fits nice, and if you're wondering what phone this is the Dodgy X Pro 7. It's really old phone. It has dual SIMs, it's really nice, but it's just an old phone I had, and that's what we're going to be using today. Okay, I wanted to focus on the modes first because this is what I found out first. So if you want Xbox wireless, you hold down the power button plus B, D input, X input. It didn't come up as a specific system, but you have here power plus triangle or Y, D3 power plus X or square. You also have power plus A or X. Now each button on the controller, and I'll show you that in a minute, gives you a different mode. And for the Pro controller, you want power plus right trigger, and for your wireless controller mode, you want power plus circle button. Okay, and this gives you all your modes. So it's about 6 modes that I found, but there's might be more on this particular controller. Okay, so the first example I'll use is a game, and I'm just using my controller to select. You could just touch the screen if you have a touchscreen phone. It's Dead Trigger. Now there's a Dead Trigger 1 and 2. This is an early zombie game if you like shooting games. And I'm rocking this out in Xbox mode. Now I'll explain why they're different in a minute. We're gonna try it in both modes, Xbox mode and PS4 controller mode, and I'll explain some of the nuances and differences. In Xbox mode, controller mode, you will not have access to your right trigger or left trigger or your M2 and M1, okay? Just keep that in mind. Controls nice and smooth, buttons are responsive. And one thing I noticed though, in the Xbox mode, it seemed like it had the best response. And I won't attribute that to the controller, I will attribute it to my older phone. Because, you know, Bluetooth technology basically gets better over time. And I think this phone came out maybe 2007 if I'm not mistaken. So it's a really old phone. Okay, now I think they're coming from all directions. This level is pretty easy compared to some of the other levels. But yeah, there's Dead Trigger 2. Very good Android game, I recommend it. The graphics are not all fancy and wild, but for an older phone like this, you don't need serious graphics. Okay, so that's it. Okay, And so now we'll try a different level in the PS4 Pro mode. Connected to the Pro controller right now. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and forget that and then show you the mode. So I'm gonna power the controller off. And then what I'm gonna do, as you can see, the PlayStation 1 dropped. I'm just gonna hold down my trigger and press the power button. Make sure that comes up. And then when I scroll to the bottom, Pro controller is right there. It is now pairing. And in just a moment, it should connect into PlayStation mode. And there it is at the top, Pro controller connected. Let's open this same game and I'm gonna show you you have access to all of the buttons. Okay, in Dead Trigger, you do have to program your buttons, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and go to that. Of course, after the advertisement, and the game does have ads. Let me skip this part. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the settings, and then you wanna click on Customize Gamepad. Now I'm gonna zoom in a bit because everything is blank now, and so I'll just go through the process of how to set up your controller. It's kind of tiny, but right analog stick right, view up, right analog stick up. And I think that's all the buttons accounted for. So let's test the same game in the Pro controller mode. I'm gonna talk about, you may not see it on camera, but I'm gonna talk about what I'm actually feeling with the Pro controller mode. And it has nothing to do, once again, I said, with the mode itself. It's just, I feel, and to be fair, I do feel just a slight lag compared to the Xbox mode. But see, I have access to more buttons, and that's the thing. So it's a compromise in the case of, I guess, your phone compatibility to Pro controller, because there's a slight delay in response, I notice. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. And I don't have any other weapons yet. I think I earned some grenades, so I don't know what button is the grenade, or you just tap the screen to have access to that. So like I said, I can skip ahead when close to this wave is done of zombies. But yeah, overall, I'm very much pleased with the controller. And so, let me pause this real quick to discuss that. And so in the Pro mode, you have access to all the buttons on the controller, which is these two buttons and those two buttons. In Xbox mode, you have access to only the right and left bumper and the rest of the buttons. You do not have access to left and right trigger or this M1, M.2 finger buttons. So I just wanted to illustrate that, how to switch the mode, and also what are the differences between the modes. Okay, so for this next one, we're gonna test Sonic 4 in PS4 Pro controller mode and then back to Xbox mode. I think this will be a perfect game to illustrate the responses. Let's see if the game automatically picks it up or if we have to program the control. I think Sonic will automatically pick up whatever mode we have. Okay, so this is a Android specific Sonic game. Okay, yeah. And so it switched up. So in Xbox, the X's go. In this case, squares go. And so we're just gonna hit up continue and see. Okay, yeah. And so to select the different parts, you have to play this. And I do notice that little lag. I would attribute that, I'm not sure, but I would attribute that to this being such an old phone, not necessarily the controller. I think it just likes Xbox mode better. But if you get this controller, let me know which mode you pick, PS4 Pro or Xbox. All right, and you can see the click. So here it's on the Act 2, I think. Yeah, we're on Act 2. So watch when I press the button when it activates. So I mean, it's responsive in PS4 mode, but we'll really know. Of course, we're gonna have ads. Let me see if I can skip past the ad. Okay. All right, if you notice that, even you can hear it audibly, okay? You notice when I press the button, Sonic is a little bit late. If you notice that, let's see if we can do spin dash. Okay, so I'll have to actually press this button to do the spin dash. But yeah, that gives me an idea. So there is some latency. Let's go ahead and switch to Xbox mode and see if that mitigates that bit of latency. I put the wrong mode. I didn't see the R in there, so it is right bumper. So we're gonna hold down the right bumper, press the power button, and when you're in Xbox mode, you'll see 2 light indicators right here turn on. Now, from what I read, and we're in Xbox mode, what I read was that, and sometimes you have to forget the device. Like I said, I have an older phone, so you have to forget and then go back into the mode, let it repair. But one thing I noticed, and you know you're paired when the light is solid like this, is that I found that the Xbox is a bit more responsive. So I think you hit B to get out. Yeah, there you go. And I'm just gonna attribute that to the controller itself. So let's go back into, we're gonna go back to back. And right away I noticed that, as you can see Sonic, when I tap, he jumps. Tap, jump, tap, jump. And that speed difference is very important when gaming. So it looks like, depending on your phone, you're gonna have to sacrifice either having access to all the buttons or response time. So it just depends, you know, on what you like. So I'm just gonna play the game a little bit just to give you an overall feel of what I think. You know, and it's amazing to me, like, what you can get with a cell phone as of now. Of course, you're gonna have to, if you want it ad-free, most of the apps you're gonna have to pay for, you know, but that's okay. I mean, the advertisers got to make their money, so you might have to watch an ad here and there, but it's a free game, you know. And if you're balling on a budget, hey, you got to get the free stuff so you can afford better, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that was a real concept behind taking an old phone, adding a little controller to it, and turning it into a gaming system, and a very capable one at that. You know, I've seen guys put Emulation Station, put Battle Sarah on here, and just load it up with games, and that's more than enough. This phone, out the box, doesn't have like TV capabilities, so you would have to like do it through the app and USB-C, like with a special cord. Okay, it says I need Tails. All right, so how do I get them? Tails, you're gonna have to follow me. Get on here. There we go. But don't fall off. Okay, and so how do I do the little helicopter thing? Okay, there we go. I press circle. Okay. That's cool. Okay. Okay, he can fly. That's pretty cool. See if we can at least beat the first level. Oh yeah, back to what I was saying about TV out. Even if you have a phone that has TV out, man, you're living like a king. You're living like a fat cat, because you're able to connect it to the TV, you know? And you get best of both worlds. You get your portable. This is the poor man's Switch right here. And I love it. You know, Steam Deck Switch is cool if you have the money, but if you ain't got it, get an old phone. Shoot, if somebody's giving away an old phone, borrow an old phone. Whatever you can do, and throw the D3 on it. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, don't drown. Okay. So we're gonna talk about the build quality. First, I wanted you to get a good look of the controller just from different angles. Now, I want to talk about this here. On the right hand side, what I noticed about the controller, and you can barely see it, I don't know if you can see it on camera, you probably won't be able to see it. That's how insignificant it is. This grip pattern is great. However, I noticed in the molding design of the body of the controller that it's not perfectly smooth. On this side, it's perfectly smooth. Now, I also noticed that if you really look in the camera, there is some marbling in the black. And what I mean by that is when they're casting a lot of these, if the die is not evenly black, you might see a little swirl or marbling in there. Insignificant, you can't even see it on camera. And you won't really notice if you're not paying attention. But there is some marbling in the black. It's not like completely solid black, but maybe in the camera you can see a little bit of it. Insignificant though. Lightweight, has internal battery, okay? Can't beat it for the price. Links in the description. Also, it has a nice little stretch to it so you can fit different size phones in it. If you would like to turn off the lights, okay, all you do is hold the power button, press the analog stick in. As you can see, the lights are off, and if you want to turn them back on just as easily, you press it just like that. If you want to turn the controller off, you hold the power button and the controller will cut off. You'll see the lights cut off, and it will reconnect right away once you turn it back on in PS4 Pro Mode. In Xbox, it takes a little minute, or you might have to go into Bluetooth to reconnect it. You got your left button, right button, left trigger, right trigger, sorry, bumpers, right triggers, and your macro, which is, you can program these to a button sequence. Let me see if I can illustrate that real quick. Okay, so I had to mess around with the macro a little bit to figure out how it works, but what you do is you hold down this button or this button. You have two macros. So hold down select and them at the same time. Now it's blinking. So any button sequence you press, for example, Sonic can double jump. So I'll do that and then press the button. And there's your double jump right there. Now also, I will reprogram the Mac again. Here, hold down the 2, it's blinking again. I'm gonna do a jump and circle combo and then press the macro again. Now, when I press macro, he automatically does a little special move. So here it is. And there it is. So that's how you use your macro. So once again, hold down your macro button and select. There it goes. The lights start blinking, button sequence, and macro again you press. Now that macro is programmed in, and that's a really cool feature. So you got 2 buttons you can program. Very cool. Oh, and of course, I'm illustrating that you can use this as an independent controller as well. So it works as a controller all in of itself. So that's also a great bonus. All right, so let me get to my final thoughts on the D3 wireless controller. Okay, so we're here at my final thoughts. Most of these old cell phones are actually very capable computers, meaning that they'll be able to play all the retro games and a lot of newer 3D games that are available on the App Store. One thing that's really cool about this controller is it comes in different colors. This thing is way more capable for my needs. I'm a casual gamer and not a competitive gamer. So any 3D or 2D games, the PS4 Pro Mode or the Xbox mode will be plenty enough for me to play any game I want to on this cell phone. One thing you want to also keep in mind is the differences between the modes. So some you're going to get different performances. Also, you're going to get different capabilities depending on what mode you set this to. This thing has an internal battery which has lasted a very long time when I used it. Also, you can program macros, so if you have fighting moves or a sequence of buttons that you want to program to one single button, you can do it with this controller. Now, this controller itself is not good for portability in the sense of slipping in your pocket, but you can put this in your backpack or carry it in a small bag and you're ready to go. And most of the time, I would just keep the phone in there as is. So would I recommend the BSP D3? Absolutely. I'm really excited about this, and as I work on my phone and add more games to it and customize it, this is going to be a great addition to my gaming collection. So definitely, if you want to pick one up, links are in the description below. Also, if this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider a like and subscribe on the channel. Well, I got a horde of zombies trying to take me out, so I got to handle this. See you guys next week.